There are moments in life when the loudest battles are not fought outside, but inside your own mind. The world may be silent, but your thoughts are not. They whisper doubts, regrets, and fears, reminding you of every mistake you've ever made. You replay conversations, you question your worth, and you begin to believe the lies your thoughts tell you. But the Stoics, they understood this better than anyone. They knew the human mind could be both a temple and a prison. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts." And so, the key to peace was never outside, it was within. To stop negative self-thinking, you must first see the mind clearly. Your thoughts are not facts, they are just habits of perception. Most of your self-doubt is learned. It comes from years of believing that your worth depends on how perfect you appear. But Stoicism teaches that peace begins the moment you stop believing everything you think. When a thought arises, "I'm not good enough, I've failed, I can't do this." Pause. Don't rush to fight it. Observe it as you would a cloud passing in the sky. The Stoics believed that by stepping back from emotion, we find clarity. You are not your thoughts. You are the awareness watching them. The clouds will come and go, but the sky remains untouched. Every time you notice your thoughts and choose not to follow them, you train your mind. You rewire the circuits of self-judgment into pathways of calm strength. Epictetus said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." And the reaction always begins in thought. The moment you learn to pause, to think before reacting, you become powerful. But you cannot silence the mind by force. You silence it by understanding it. The Stoics practiced reflection, not to criticize themselves, but to see themselves clearly. At the end of each day, they would ask, "What did I do well? What could I have done better? What lesson will I take into tomorrow?" This wasn't self-blame. It was self-awareness, the soil in which self-growth begins. When you approach your mistakes with compassion rather than condemnation, your mind begins to heal. You realize that imperfection isn't proof of weakness, it's proof that you're alive, that you're learning, that you're trying again. Negative self-thinking loses its power when you refuse to identify with it. You are not a failure, you are a person learning through experience. You are not unworthy, you are unfinished. And being unfinished means you still have time, to grow, to evolve, to become who you were meant to be. The first Stoic rule, then, is this. You are not your thoughts. They are visitors. Some are kind, others cruel, but none are you. Your true nature lies in the space between the thought and the response. And in that space, you can choose peace over pain, clarity over confusion. Train yourself to live in that space. When you wake up and the mind starts whispering doubts, don't rush to believe it. Instead, say quietly, "I see you." And return to the present moment. You don't need to destroy negative thoughts, you only need to stop feeding them. And the less you feed them, the quieter they become. Perfection, the illusion that keeps most people trapped inside their own minds. You judge yourself not because you are broken, but because you believe you must be flawless to deserve peace. But Stoicism teaches the opposite. Peace is not the reward for perfection, it is the result of acceptance. Marcus Aurelius, Emperor of Rome, one of the most powerful men in history, wrote daily reminders to himself like a humble student. He told himself, "You will meet selfish, arrogant, ungrateful people today. Remember, you are one of them too." Not to criticize, but to forgive, himself and others. When you learn to forgive yourself for being human, your mind begins to calm. You stop expecting to always be strong, and in doing so, you actually become stronger. Because no longer are you weighed down by impossible expectations. The truth is, self-criticism is often disguised fear. The fear of being judged, of being less, of not being enough. But the Stoics said, if you seek peace, do not look outside, look within. Your worth does not fluctuate with success or failure. It is constant, anchored in your character, not your results. When you make a mistake, your mind may scream, "You failed." But Stoicism replies, "You learned." When you fall short, your mind may whisper, "You're not capable." But Stoicism answers, "You are capable of trying again." To stop negative self-thinking, you must change the lens through which you view yourself. The Stoics practiced what's called the view from above. Imagining life from a higher perspective, seeing yourself as a small part of the vast universe. From up there, your failures shrink. Your regrets lose their sharpness. You begin to see that what you call a disaster is often just a moment in time, one page in a much larger story. The second Stoic rule is this. Accept that imperfection is part of the human design. You were never meant to be perfect. You were meant to grow, and growth is messy, uncertain, uncomfortable. Yet every scar, every setback, every doubt is a mark of progress. Seneca wrote, "No man is more unhappy than he who never faces adversity. For he is not permitted to prove himself." You are proving yourself every time you stand back up. The Stoic doesn't seek a life free of mistakes, they seek a mind free of self-hatred. Because mistakes are inevitable, what you believe about them is optional. So when that inner critic rises again, pause. Instead of asking, "Why did I mess up?" ask, "What can this teach me?" When you feel weak, say, "This is how strength begins." When you feel lost, say, "This is where clarity is born." By changing the questions, you change the meaning. And by changing the meaning, you change your mind. Negative self-thinking survives on resistance. It feeds on the energy you spend fighting yourself. But the moment you stop resisting and simply observe, it loses its grip. Because you cannot hate what you understand. So learn to understand your flaws. Study them like a Stoic would, not with emotion, but with reason. Don't label yourself as broken, label the habit, not the human. Tell yourself, "This thought is harmful, but I am not this thought." You can change the habit, gently, patiently, daily. Remember, even Marcus Aurelius, the man the world called philosopher king, wrote in his private journal, "Waste no time arguing what a good man should be. Be one." He didn't write that because he was perfect. He wrote it because he was trying, every single day, to live in alignment with what he believed. And so can you. You don't need to silence your negative thoughts completely, you just need to make your calm voice louder. Speak kindly to yourself when the old patterns return. You are not weak for feeling low. You are human for feeling, and Stoic for learning from it. Acceptance is not surrender, it is awareness. And awareness is the beginning of freedom. When you accept that imperfection is natural, you begin to see beauty even in your flaws. You begin to walk lighter, breathe deeper, and think clearer. Because you are no longer at war with yourself. You begin to realize something profound. The goal is not to become someone else. The goal is to become fully yourself, calm, steady, and unshaken. That is where real peace begins. When the mind is clouded, the world feels heavy. You start imagining problems that haven't even happened yet. You replay the past, over and over, like a film you can't stop watching. You worry about what people think, what could go wrong, what might fall apart. But the Stoics understood that most suffering doesn't come from reality, it comes from the imagination. Seneca wrote, "We suffer more in imagination than in reality." Think about that. Most of your fear lives in a place that doesn't exist, a future that hasn't happened, a past that can't be changed. And when you spend your life in those places, your mind becomes a cage built by your own thoughts. The Stoics learned to escape that cage through discipline, the discipline of focus. When the mind drifts toward what-ifs and fears, they gently brought it back to what is. What can I control? What can I do now? What truth is in front of me at this moment? This is the third Stoic rule. Discipline your focus. You can't stop a storm, but you can anchor your ship. The storm is life. The anchor is your focus. Every day, thousands of thoughts pass through your mind. Most are meaningless, recycled fragments of yesterday's worries. But you get to choose which ones you hold on to. Focus is the gatekeeper of the mind, it decides what stays and what goes. When your thoughts turn dark, don't fight them, redirect them. Shift your focus from what you fear to what you can do. From what you lack to what you have. From what you lost to what you've learned. This is not denial, it's Stoic wisdom. Because what you focus on expands, and what you ignore fades. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself daily. You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. Notice how he didn't say, control everything. He said, control your mind. Because once your mind is steady, the outside world loses its power to disturb you. When you catch yourself spiraling into overthinking, pause and ask. Is this within my control? If yes, act. If no, let go. It sounds simple, but it takes practice. And every time you practice, the mind rewires itself. Each moment of awareness becomes a thread in a stronger fabric of peace. Even the greatest Stoics had wandering thoughts, fears, doubts. But they trained themselves to return, again and again, to the present. To the task before them. To the truth of the moment. You can do the same. When your mind says, I can't handle this. Focus on your breath, because that, you can control. When it says, I've ruined everything. Focus on the next small action, because that, you can control. When it says, I'll never be enough. Focus on the effort, not the outcome, because that, you can control. This is how the Stoic rewires the mind, not through force, but through focus. Every time you bring your attention back to the present, you take power away from anxiety. You reclaim the moment from regret and fear. You remind your mind, I am here. I am capable. I am calm. The mind will always try to pull you into storms of, what if? But you are not the storm. You are the sky. And the sky remains steady even when the clouds move across it. The Stoics practiced this in daily life. Marcus ruled an empire. Seneca advised leaders. Epictetus lived as a slave. Different lives, same truth, control what you can, accept what you can't. So ask yourself each morning. What do I have the power to do today? Not what can I fear, not what can I regret, but what can I do? When you act from that space, your life becomes simple, powerful, and free. Negative self-thinking fades when the mind is focused on the present task. Because the present doesn't demand perfection, it only asks for attention. And when you give your full attention to the moment, there is no room left for fear. Discipline your focus, and you discipline your peace. A distracted mind will always suffer. But a disciplined one, that's where serenity lives. So today, bring your awareness back. Back to this breath. Back to this second. Back to the calm within. Your peace was never lost, it was only buried under noise. And now, through focus, you are finding it again. At some point, you must face a hard truth. You don't control everything. You never did. And much of your suffering comes from trying to control what was never yours to begin with. The Stoics saw this clearly. They understood that the human mind becomes restless not because of pain itself, but because it refuses to accept what it cannot change. Marcus Aurelius said, accept whatever comes to you woven in the pattern of your destiny, for what could more aptly fit your needs? You can't control the weather, other people's opinions, or the outcome of every decision. But you can control your effort, your integrity, and your response. That's the essence of Stoicism, freedom through acceptance. The fourth Stoic rule is this. Detach from outcomes. When you tie your peace to results, you surrender your power to things outside your control. If success defines your worth, failure will destroy it. If praise gives you confidence, criticism will take it away. But when your peace depends only on your effort, no one can take it from you. Do your work with honesty, give your best with discipline, and then let go. Let go of what happens next, because that was never yours to own. Epictetus taught, when you want something, remind yourself of what kind of thing it is. If you want your child or your friend, remind yourself that you love a mortal. Then you won't be disturbed when they die. He wasn't cold or emotionless. He was free. Because he loved deeply without attachment, appreciating without clinging. And that's how you must treat your goals, your dreams, even your failures. Love them. Work for them. But don't be owned by them. When you detach, you stop suffering twice, once from the event itself, and once from your reaction to it. Negative self-thinking often begins when things don't go as planned. You fail an exam. You lose a job. Someone rejects you. Immediately the mind says, you're not enough. But that's not truth, that's attachment speaking. You expected life to bend to your will. And when it didn't, you punished yourself. The Stoic doesn't see loss as failure, they see it as instruction. They ask, what is this teaching me? And in that question, they transform pain into power. Marcus Aurelius wrote during times of war, plague, and betrayal. And yet he said, the impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way. Every obstacle is not blocking your path, it is the path. You can either resist it and suffer, or embrace it and grow. Letting go doesn't mean giving up. It means trusting that you can handle whatever comes next. It means replacing control with confidence, confidence in your strength, your reason, your ability to endure. When your mind says, I can't lose this, the Stoic replies, you can lose anything but your virtue. And virtue, your character, your courage, your calm, can never be taken, only surrendered. So practice this daily. When you find yourself overthinking outcomes, remind yourself, what's in my control? And if it's not, release it. If it is, do it. This is the art of serenity. It's not about getting everything right, it's about being right with yourself, no matter what happens. You'll notice that once you detach, the mind quiets. Because it finally stops fighting reality. You begin to realize that the universe was never against you. It was simply teaching you how to live without clinging. The Stoics didn't deny emotion, they refined it. They turned pain into discipline, fear into reason, loss into wisdom. And you can too. Every time you let go of something that was weighing you down, you make space for peace to enter. Every time you accept what is, instead of what you wish it was, you come one step closer to freedom. This world will never be fully in your control. But your response to it, that is entirely yours. And that's where your power lies. Not in having everything go your way, but in staying steady when it doesn't. Detach from outcomes. Live with intention. Act with virtue. And then, let life unfold, exactly as it must. Because peace is not found in forcing life to obey you. It is found in walking with life as it is. And realizing that every twist, every fall, every change was preparing you for the moment you finally understood. You were never meant to control everything. Only yourself. There's one truth that brings peace faster than anything else. Everything is temporary. Every thought, every emotion, every failure, every victory, all of it passes. Nothing stays forever. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Time is a river, a violent current of events, glimpsed once and carried away." And if that is true, then what sense does it make to cling to guilt, regret, or fear? What sense does it make to let a passing thought define a permanent identity? The Stoic sees change not as a threat, but as a reminder. A reminder that life moves, and so must you. When you understand impermanence, you stop fighting your pain. You let it flow through you, knowing it will fade, just as joy does. Negative self-thinking loses its power when you remember this simple truth. Nothing lasts forever, not even the darkness within you. There will be moments when the mind feels heavy. When you look in the mirror and see only your flaws. When silence feels too loud, and progress feels too slow. But in those moments, remind yourself, this, too, shall pass. You are not stuck. You are simply passing through a season. And every season, no matter how cold, eventually turns to spring. The fifth Stoic rule is this. Be grateful, even for the struggle. Gratitude is not denial. It is strength. It's looking at the same life and seeing not just what's missing, but what remains. The Stoics practiced gratitude daily, not as a ritual, but as armor for the mind. They reflected each morning, what if I lost this? Would I still be grateful for what I have now? Seneca said, he is a wise man who does not grieve for the things which he has not, but rejoices for those which he has. Gratitude rewires your thoughts. It reminds your mind that life is not as cruel as your fears claim. Even in pain, you can find something to honor, a lesson, a truth, a moment of clarity. Every time you say, thank you, even silently, you take power away from negativity. Because a grateful mind cannot live in the same space as a hateful one. The Stoics also taught one final discipline. The discipline of living in harmony with nature. Nature, to them, was not trees and rivers, it was truth. It was the way life unfolds, the rhythm of existence. To live in harmony with nature meant to live in harmony with your own nature. To act with reason, virtue, and calm. When your actions align with your values, your mind finds peace. But when you live against your own conscience, when you lie, when you act from ego, when you chase validation, you create inner conflict, and the mind turns against itself. Many people don't have negative thoughts because they are weak. They have them because they live in contradiction. They know what they should do, but they do the opposite. And that conflict breeds shame, guilt, and self-hate. The Stoic path heals that divide. It brings the outer life and the inner truth back together. You begin to live as you speak, to act as you believe. And when that happens, the mind grows quiet. You no longer need to impress anyone, or prove anything. You no longer chase peace, you become peace. When you live in alignment, even the hardest days feel purposeful. Because you're no longer running from yourself. You're walking with yourself, steady, grounded, whole. And that's the goal. Not to silence all thoughts, but to live so well that your thoughts reflect peace. Not to escape the mind, but to make it a home, calm, disciplined, and kind. So now, take a moment. Breathe deeply. And think about how far you've come, not how far you have to go. You've learned to observe your thoughts without judgment. You've learned that imperfection is part of being human. You've learned to discipline your focus, to detach from outcomes, and to find gratitude in every season. This is what it means to rewire the mind, to replace self-hate with self-mastery. The Stoics never promised a life without pain. They promised a mind that remains peaceful through pain. And that is a greater gift than comfort could ever give. Because when you master your thoughts, you master your life. You become calm in chaos, patient in storms, and strong in silence. You become untouchable, not because the world changes, but because you do. So when the voice of doubt returns, and it will, meet it with stillness. When fear whispers, you can't. Answer softly, I already am. When your past tries to pull you back, smile, and walk forward. You are no longer the person who believed those thoughts. You have seen too much, learned too much, grown too much. You have become what the Stoics called unshaken. A mind disciplined by wisdom. A heart grounded in truth. A soul no longer defined by fear. Your journey isn't about escaping your mind. It's about transforming it. And now, you have.